So I just want to start off this video by saying that the desire for love and intimacy is natural. It is a desire that was created by God. We all know when Adam was in the garden and God was like, it is not good for man to be alone. So I think just to give people comfort, it's important to know that the desire you have for love is natural. It's just important for us to learn to do it God's way. Now I want to start off this video by speaking about a verse that's in Proverbs 16 verse 9. And it says that the heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And I want to tie that in with Jeremiah 17 verse 9, which says, I'm going to paraphrase this one, I don't know it as well. It says that the heart of a man is wicked and deceitful. Who can know it? I think those two are so incredible. We kind of figured these two like cross references together when I was speaking with my one friend. We're just speaking on this topic in general, because what else are young men going to speak about, right? But we were speaking about this, and we spoke about Proverbs 16 verse 9, and then he kind of just brought up, he was like, there's actually a verse that says the heart is deceitful, and we're like, damn, that's Jeremiah 17 verse 9. And it's so incredible to mix in those two, because we don't think our heart can lead us astray, but it can, right? Like I said at the start of this video, the desire for love is natural, but again, the heart is deceitful, as it says in Jeremiah. We can twist that and create this image of how we want our story, right? How we want love to look like. And it can also be shaped by the world. You watch like Disney romance stories, or just other things that Satan can use to just get into your mind and be like, nah, you should go and find love this way. You should go and like date as many people as you want so you can find like your soulmate. And it's like, then it's a natural desire that has been perverted. So I think it's important for us to learn to trust God, because as it says, we can plan what we want. Like our hearts can plan however we want to go, but the Lord establishes our steps. And who's going to fight against God, right? If God says you're going this way and you try and like go your own way, who do you think's going to win, right? Especially us as children of God, obviously we've got free will to walk whichever way we want, but because we want what God wants for us, right? Like we actually want like a good life, and God like wants good things for us, right? And I want to go to what Jesus said, where he said that if you ask your father for bread, will he give you a snake? Absolutely not. Like God knows what you want. He knows the desires of your heart, and he wants what's ultimately good for you. And I think it's more important for us to trust him than to obviously trust ourselves, because we've got this route we have planned, but God, like, again, he knows what's in the future. He can see the future. He knows the beginning. He knows the end at the beginning. We don't. We kind of just like, oh, I want to go down this path, but we don't know what comes. We don't know what's coming forward. We're like, oh yeah, I want love, and I want to find like love now and everything. But it's like, God knows you're probably not ready. God knows, if you're to rush into love, you're going to meet someone who's really going to damage you, and it's just going to, like, things are just not going to end well. Like, God knows that. And that's why it says, again, the heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And the heart is wicked and deceitful, right? So it's important for us to learn not to trust our own heart, but to trust God. And I think a perfect story that really ties in well with this is Paul's divine delay, right? And I'm always speaking about this because it was such an impactful thing I learned from a sermon I listened to. And it was about how Paul wanted to go to Rome, right? Like he wanted to go to Rome and preach to the Romans, because that was like your high, if you were Paul, you'd think like that was your highest calling, right? You're going to Rome, they're like, this is at the height of the Roman Empire, like, they rule the world. It's like, if you go and you preach to the Romans, like, Christianity is going to be spread around the world. And it was. But like for him, you could see how he was like, I can't see anything higher than that. And God is like, I have a different plan for you, right? He's in Athens on his way to Rome, and he gets put in jail, gets put in prison. What does he do in prison? He writes 2/3 of the New Testament. And the important thing to note here is that even though he did end up going to Rome and preaching to the Romans, Paul reached more people through his scriptures that he wrote in prison, right? The scriptures in the Bible, he's reached more people than he ever could have imagined, than he would have if he went to Rome and just went out there and just preached to them straight up. So that's a perfect example of how God's ways are above our ways. Paul could never have seen that. Paul was not thinking about the generations to come and like, oh, I'm going to be writing a Bible. I'm going to be writing in the Bible that's going to be like studied 2,000 years from now. He wasn't thinking about all that. He wasn't thinking about how Christianity is going to reach billions and billions of people. He was thinking of going to the Roman Empire, bro. To the Roman Empire, to Rome, and be like, You guys have been led astray. I know a man, and I know God, like I know Jesus, and he can save you from your sin. Just give your life to him. He wanted to go do that, but like he got put in prison. But the important thing was that while he was in prison, he was faithful, right? He was like, okay, God, don't really understand, but sure, let's start writing. And he was writing, and look at what's happened. I think that's an important thing to note, that yeah, God's ways are above our ways. And just a last point to tie all of this in together, right? The concept, like being impatient and worrying, is a sign of a lack of faith. Because if you trust in a God who's never failed, right, his track record is impeccable, right? He will never fail you, and he knows infinitely more than you could ever imagine, right? And the plans he has for you are infinitely better than you could ever imagine. Why should you worry? Why should you be impatient? The Lord is not slow. It says it in, I think it's in Peter, I'm not sure. It's definitely in the Bible, of course. The Lord is not slow. He's on time. So why should you worry? I think on that note, I'm going to end the video. You guys let me know what you think of the topic in the comment section below. Make sure you hit subscribe to join the Self-Improvement Brotherhood. And until next time, see you boys.